But of course, the only thing anyone really cares about at the moment is cost of living, and it got a few shows in this budget speech.
It's a plan to help with the cost of living. This is a responsible budget with 5 main priorities. Helping with the cost of living. The cost of living is front of mind for most Australians, and it is front and centre in this budget. New plans for cost of living and health are accompanied by new investments in housing.
Yada, yada, yada. Cost of living, never mind the fact that you and your government have made it worse, Dr Chalmers, over the last 3 years. But there weren't that many cost of living measures in this budget. The major one, though, the plank of their cost of living relief, is a measly tax cut.
Every Australian taxpayer will get a tax cut next year and the year after to top up the tax cuts which began in July. Yeah. This will take the first tax rate down to its lowest level in more than half a century. Yeah. These additional tax cuts are modest, but they will make a difference. The average earner will have an extra $536 in their pocket each year when they're fully implemented. Combined with our first round of tax cuts, this is $2,190, and the average total tax cut will be $2,548, or about $50 a week.
I mean, seriously, what he's talking about there is the stage 3 tax cuts that he changed, so a lot of people actually got fewer tax cuts last year, and then adding that onto the measly tax cut he'll give you this year, which is, well, actually, it's not this year, it's next year. $5 on July the 1st, 2026, and then $10 on July the 1st, 2027. It's hardly a major tax cut, and he tries to make it sound like we are putting more money back in your pocket. But we know, thanks to the illusion of bracket creep, they're not putting any more money back in your pocket. This is the reality of what the Albanese government has done to take more money from you. A decade ago, the income tax receipts that the federal government took in were $258.8 billion. Remember that number, $258.8 billion just 10 years ago. This financial year, they'll be $497.6 billion. Now, that's $1.5 billion more than we were told in the mid-year financial update they would be, and it's 92.27% more than they were taking from you 10 years ago. The income tax take has doubled, almost doubled in 10 years. Now, in that time, inflation's gone up by about 30% and the working population has increased by about 25%. So yes, they will have taken more money in income tax, but that doesn't explain a near doubling in the money they have taken. So keep that in mind. $497.6 billion this financial year. Next financial year, they're going to take $522.7 billion, yet more tax from you. Then the year after that, which is when you get your $5 off every week, remember, this is when the tax cut comes through, they're still taking more money, $547.52 billion. 2027-28, $570 billion. 2028-29, $605.35 billion over the forward estimates in the budget they released tonight. That's another $100 billion in income tax they're going to take from you over the next 4 years. And the Treasurer has the gall to stand up and say, we've given you tax cuts of thousands of dollars. Well, any tax cut you've been given has been eaten up by bracket creep and the increase in costs you've had to pay. And all this extra money he's taken from you, what's he done with it?
In this term, we've banked around 70% of tax receipt upgrades.
So you don't cut spending in line with the extra money that you've taken. You just squirrel that money away and put it somewhere else and say, well, fantastic. We've been able to take it from you without you even noticing we've done it. And then we'll tell you we've been giving you a tax cut. If you're getting more tax from us, how about you offset that with less spending so you don't have to keep taxing us more? Strange thought, I know. The only other cost of living measure, of course, was one that we already knew, and that's an increase in the power rebate.
Electricity prices in the official data went down 25% last year, but they're still putting pressure on households around the world. 2 rounds of energy rebates have helped take some of the sting out of energy costs. Tonight we're providing another $1.8 billion in energy bill relief.
Did anyone else hear that? He said power bills went down by 25% last year. 25%! Jim Chalmers, what planet are you living on? None of us who looked at our power bills over the last year could possibly say that they've gone down by 25%. What he's trying to tell you is the subsidy that we brought in meant you paid less for power. It didn't mean the actual power bill went down. It was money that the federal government took from your taxes and then handed to power companies so that when they sent you your bill, it didn't look quite as large as it actually was. It did not change the cost of energy. A power bill, the average power bill in New South Wales on July the 1st this year will be $1,000 more than the Albanese government promised before it came to power. Remember, they said $275 off by 2025. But we'll give you another $150 measly in a rebate, not an actual cut to your bill by the end of this year.